You're tuning in to Past Our Prime,
A show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Hello, everybody. Does that sound all right, Tip? Welcome.
We're here.
Welcome to Past Our Prime. He's Tip. I'm Dan. Matt Cassel will be joining us in about 15 minutes or so.
He's good. We had a blast with him. He's fun.
He is one of those guys, and he's from Southern California. He's just a ball of energy, very smart, but he's hilarious. And I'm not.
Episode 10, by the way.
Episode 10, you're right.
Yep.
He is one of the funniest guys that I've played with, bar none. And I think just if I could go back, and I don't even have to, I can just sit there and watch three people and just watch what they do and how outrageous they are, how funny they are, how stupid they are.
Yep.
It would be Larry Izzo, Wes Welker, and Matt Cassel.
Are they all California guys? Because for me, it's California.
No.
There's something about that, like southern to mid California guy that I played with, and that's what he is. Where they're just like super chill, but full of energy, but super chill at the same time. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it.
No,
they're just like they've always worn a hoodie, they've always had a hat on, and they just kind of chill through life. And they just do it.
Wes, I want to say Wes and Larry are from Texas, though.
They could be. I mean, Texas guys are funny, too.
I know Larry is definitely from Texas. I want to say Wes is from Texas, too, if not Oklahoma City.
Got it.
He might be from Oklahoma City.
Well, Castle's good, though. So we got him finally to make a pick, too. We got him to make a pick, which we didn't think we were going to get.
He had a long, illustrious career with 7 different teams, so he's been around a lot of different players, a lot of different coaches. So it was fun to talk to him. Obviously, one of the things that we talked about was Super Bowl.
Had to.
It is the week of the Super Bowl, probably, the greatest sporting event.
We're going to do a pre-Super Bowl show right now, which we had a great guest on for, and we'll do a post-Super Bowl show.
Yeah. And Tom Brady is back in the Super Bowl, if you didn't already know. If you have not watched your television in a week and a half, Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl. Number 10 for him. First one with Tampa Bay in his first year, in a COVID season. Less practice time, less getting that group together in the offseason, less gelling.
Yeah.
And he brings them 3 road games also in the playoffs, too.
Yeah, my pick. So if we're going to put our picks in right now, we're going to do a different bet. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
Do you need the points, or do you I think it's sitting around Kansas City minus 3, probably somewhere
3.5 or 4. Yeah, something like that. I would take Tampa Bay money line.
That confident.
Yep.
You know what? That's nice.
I'd take Tampa Bay money line.
You are a Patriots fan.
I'm a Tom Brady fan.
Are you more of a Tom Brady fan or more of a Pats fan?
No, I'm more of a Pats fan. But I do like, and this might be something with players too. I've never, since I got done playing, I don't necessarily root for teams as much as I do people.
Right.
So like, since I was done playing, and and half the time that you played, right? I root more for a guy that I might have played against or that I know to be successful rather than like the Red Sox because I'm from here. Now, they are my team. Like, I want to see them win because they're local. That's like what it is. More so than the Astros.
Sure.
I'd like to have the Red Sox win. But I'd rather pick people to do well. Yeah. So I think that's kind of maybe why I'm like, Brady was obviously like a role model, like for all of us and everything too. And
a role model. A role model.
Whatever you want to call it. Crush? Is that what you wanted to hear?
I think Crush is better for
Crush?
you. Role model, my ass.
So like that's the person everybody is like, hey, I was 16 years old, 17 years old and watched it for 20 years. So it's like you want the person to go win.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really thought about it that way because you've been in the game, you understand what it takes, the hard work and, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Mm-hmm. So that does make sense that, hey, I know this guy. I know what it takes.
Yeah.
What he has to put into it, what he has to sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. Did you find yourself rooting more for people rather than the teams? Obviously, you have your hometown team. I didn't grow up a Patriots fan.
Yeah, what team did you grow up rooting for?
I was a Green Bay Packer fan.
Okay, all right. We never asked that question.
No, that's fair.
Do you still feel like you're a Packers fan at all, or is that like gone since you've,
it's
played for a long time?
Yeah, it's probably gone. I would say it's gone.
You don't still have a starter jacket?
I feel like the Packers. No, that
you have a starter jacket.
Oh yeah, the starter coat back in the day.
Absolutely.
That was just fashion
Such a great
at its
move.
finest.
They should bring those back.
I thought they tried to.
With a big zipper, the big Velcro
with
pocket
nice
with the zipper.
The S and the star on there.
I love those.
I was born in the Midwest and growing up was a Packer fan. Packers, I feel like, are one of those teams you just can't hate. They haven't really done anything. They haven't signed any assholes.
Yep.
They sort of just, they're
owned by
they're publicly
people.
owned.
Right.
They're in the New York Stock Exchange, and so.
Oh, speaking of stocks, well, who are you going to pick first?
I'm not gonna root against my boy.
Okay, good. All right, so we're both on the same.
So we're
camp
both
there.
on Tampa, but we are gonna do a bet, and it's gonna be $100.
Yeah, $100 bet,
and it's basically 50-50. So this is just chance.
Evens and odds. So quick definition how this works: the combined score, if it's 41, 21-20, that's an odd number, number one, right? So what am I? Evens?
You're evens.
I'm even. So I'm 0, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yep.
You're
I'm
1,
odds.
3, 5, 7, 9
see,
for
there you
evens
go.
and odds for everybody out
we
there.
Can count to 10.
So whatever it finishes is $100 bet, 50-50, basically a coin flip. So that's going to be our bet. So I'm evens, your odds. That's our Super Bowl bet.
I think I would have a problem if I was going for Kansas City just to do the opposite of you, which would make better entertainment. But
I know, but this is a good bet so that we're against each other on
Sunday is like do you remember going to Super Bowl parties when you were a kid? This is the game.
Like the last 36 years.
This is the game. So I don't want anything to mess that up. So.
Okay. All right. So we got our bets.
I even got a Tampa Bay shirt.
I did too. I don't know where it is though. It hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, mine came in yesterday.
Fanatics?
It might have been NFL Shop.
I should have ordered it from Squad Locker. Those guys ship fast. We know.
Yeah, we could get that done.
3 to 5 days on your door. So I should have got one from them. Even though we don't do the licenses for those, but that would have been a quick way to get something, right, Max? So, a couple other things. You mentioned stocks. There's a crazy thing going on with the stocks. It's basically like a casino right now. People shorting and putting and calling and all these things.
People figured out that the stock exchange, Wall Street, is rigged.
Yeah, so
and they're trying to go against it.
What people might not know about you and I, Dan, is you're an accounting major from Boston College, and I'm a business finance major from Southern Maine. So like we maybe look at something and understand it slightly. I don't understand what's going on.
Not a clue.
No idea. I put some money at work, though.
So you didn't research anything, right?
I just was like, you know what? When there's a mob mentality on something,
I went in.
I just got to get in the game. So I think it was Nokia. I didn't do I was too late on a lot of them, but I was like, well, what's next? It's pretty easy to research the stuff. So I went after Nokia. I looked at it; it's down 40%. So I tried doubling my position too. It didn't work.
Wasn't it the day that you got in? It locked out.
Oh yeah. Well, it locked out.
Timing wise, that's not.
It
good
locked
for
out for everybody that needed to go invest, like in Robinhood and all these things. But I used Merrill Lynch,
so it went through just fine.
Went through slick as a whistle. 9:30. So
that is.
Yeah, that one hurt. But
I don't. Yeah, I don't trade my own stocks. Sounds kind of
probably
fun.
A good idea.
No, especially right now. I mean,
good idea.
I wish I got it like a week ago and maybe figured it out. But I'm glad I didn't go in on Nokia.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to let that one ride. So we'll see what happens.
I love the fact just if there's a mob mentality, I'm going in.
I just feel like I don't want to. I fear of missing out. The FOMO thing that the kids say.
Yeah.
I have a fear of missing out. So I was like, if all these people are going to throw 1,000 in and make 10 grand, or throw 10,000 and make 100 grand, like I got to get skin in the game.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out, but
not yet.
Halftime.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this because you were you won 2 Super Bowls. You were part of 5.
Played in 3.
So you were in the locker room on 3 during 3 of them. Do you remember the halftime shows like right away? Do you like, oh yeah, that one was?
I remember the first 2. 38 was Janet Jackson and Timberlake. There was a nip
nothing
slip.
happened there.
There was a nip slip.
Yeah.
I was in the locker room, so we didn't see it.
There
is a funny story on that. So we ended up beating Carolina and the after party was fantastic.
I would assume that an
Snoop-
Super Bowl party
Snoop
after
Dogg,
you win
Snoop
is
Dogg
fantastic.
Snoop Dogg is like, putting on a concert in the hotel, and I forget who else was there, but it was an all-nighter. Let's just put it that way. It was an all-nighter. So I got up, or I didn't get up, but I went out and I had to go. Probably went to get a Gatorade or something like that. But I walk out and there was this cop there. And he just looked at me. He's like, "Hey, you need anything?" I was like, "Yeah, I just need to go to the convenience store." He's like, "Hop in. I'll give you a ride." Well, they got the computer in the cop car, right? He's like, "Hey, did you see what happened at halftime?" I'm like,
Oh, he pulled it right up for you.
pulled it right up.
You jumped right in the front seat.
Pulled it right up in the squad car the day after the
that's
Super
funny.
Bowl. I didn't hear about it until that point. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, there was a wardrobe malfunction with Janet Jackson last night." So I was like, "Here, pull it up," and just showed me right in the squad car. The next year in Jacksonville was McCartney,
Okay. Yep.
Paul McCartney, which was kind of cool because I was a Beatles fan and Paul McCartney fan, and you could hear what was going on in the locker
And
room.
it's a lot longer too, right?
It's a pain in the ass.
It's too long, right? You
Way
actually
too
cool
long.
down. Are guys like on the bike and stuff
Yes,
when you go in?
no doubt.
Yeah.
It is completely, and you will go through that, and Tampa Bay and Kansas City will go through that preparation this week. Usually it's 12 minutes.
Oh, you actually prep for that.
Oh yeah,
You try to
prep.
figure out what do you want to do.
It's a longer pregame. It's longer usually than right after the national anthem. Usually it's like a minute or 3 minutes to kickoff. It's longer now. So
Is it almost
you get
like-
warmed up, you come back down. You get warmed up, you come back down. And then
Yeah.
the halftime's like 30, 35 minutes. It feels like you're in there forever.
Is it almost to the point that if you were, say your uniform was dirty, you were sweating a lot. Is this like shower, change, put on a fresh uniform situation?
No.
It's not? Okay.
You probably could, though.
That's what I'm wondering. Like,
You-
you
I
almost
mean-
hey, I had a bad first half. Like, I'm going to shift this up. I'm going
Yeah.
to change. I'm going to do it.
You absolutely probably could.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I would.
The shitty thing for linemen is you got the knee
Yeah, all the
braces
knees
on.
on.
If I'm a wide receiver or a running back and I'm just taking off the pants
Yeah.
and absolutely you
I'd
could
change
probably
it up.
yeah you could definitely do that.
Absolutely.
Plus
I
you
would
get an
do
extra
that.
Super Bowl jersey out of it.
There you go. That's a good idea.
See?
I like that. So what do we got? We got the weekend. I'm excited to see it. I'm always excited just to see what people do. He also threw like $7 million of his own money on top of the Super Bowl budget.
He knows that this is a very very good marketing.
This is how you go market yourself,
no
right
doubt,
here.
and they can put on a show. It went away after Janet Jackson for a little bit. You remember how bad they got?
Yeah, because it was like super censored.
MTV was doing it, right? And then
Yeah.
they kicked MTV out, and now they have someone else now that's putting them on, and they're coming back.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga a few years ago was awesome.
Yeah, powerful. Yep.
So the weekend, if he wants to put in it, he knows how important it is.
Yeah, it is important for sure. Housekeeping. 2 more things. The Peloton.
Oh, you're on a roll.
I'm addicted, but you're still better than me, which is really pissing me off.
No,
but
I mean,
you're
that's
good.
just-
I'm closing the gap.
It's you just got to stay with it.
Oh yeah, I'm staying.
Stay with it.
I have
No.
a full-fledged addiction.
You
So,
you have not missed a day.
haven't missed a day, and I've rode twice almost every day.
Almost.
Yesterday we did a 45
At what point
minute.
do you think you might want to give your legs just a break?
Right now it's tough going upstairs, but I can tell you the legs are getting tight. I can feel like the strength in these things, and like things are fitting different.
When- So do you think this is the end all? When's the last time you picked up a weight?
You know what? My arms feel stronger than they've been in a while too, because I'm like on those handlebars like so much. But
your grip strength is
here's
fantastic.
what
right
I
now.
plan on doing: going down. We'll rebuild back up once we get down to where we need to be, and then we'll rebuild. But we're going to rebuild with muscle mass, not like Krispy Kremes.
What is it? The beatings will cease when morale improves. Type
Yes,
thing.
exactly. So that's coming.
All right. So if you
we've
want
been racing a lot.
you can ride with us. I've been kicking Tip's ass
Mm-hmm.
pretty regularly every time that I've rode, or maybe not at the same time, but
It's coming.
Did what he did. An on-demand class, so you can hashtag past our prime on the Peloton. You can ride with us.
Yeah, just follow our classes, our hashtag on it. We got Cassel that's about to jump in the crew. We've got David Andrews. I know I see him riding like crazy, so he's probably going to be jumping in the crew. It's addicting.
It's a tremendous
Dripping sweat.
Oh, God.
You called it. I am
can't.
soaked at the end of every Absolutely
it's a
drenched.
puddle. You're just a puddle, and you got sweat running down your elbows.
Yep.
It's a great
We've been
workout.
I'm going shirtless.
It's a great
too.
workout, but you do need to substitute some weights in there at some point. Too.
I know. Well, they'll come back in there. And then the other thing, I was getting blown up on Instagram this weekend because of the Hobie Baker, which we're not necessarily a gigantic hockey podcast. We like to be. We've had a great hockey Nate Lehman. I mean, that was incredible.
That was a pretty good one.
Right after USA Hockey won the gold medal. But there's the Hobie Baker coming up. There's a couple Boston College guys in it. You know, Spencer Knight's one, yep. Matt Boldy's another. So go on there and vote. Get these BC guys up there.
I believe they're number one in the country right now, too.
Look at that. Yeah. When I know Boldy got drafted, I think 12th by Minnesota. Yes. So let's throw some votes their way. You know, go get them and light them up. And then we're jumping into the Cassel interview. So is that it, Dan, for the Super Bowl? We got our bet in.
Yeah. I want Tampa to win, but I don't think they're the better team.
Are you pulling back?
I'm just putting it out there. I mean, that offense is insane.
We talked about it with Cassel at the end. If there is another win, that Derby trip is going to be something special, I think.
Go Bucks.
Yeah. Go Bucks.
All right, we got a good one today. Former teammate of mine. Very good friend. Hell of a player, 14 years in the NFL with 7 different teams, which probably doesn't sound like he's that good. But, you know, if you want a backup quarterback, this is your guy, Matt Cassel.
I'm excited.
I've been debating where to start with Mr. Cassel, but this fan that he has going in the back of in the room right now, for a guy who spent 14 years in the NFL, made however much money, we're not even going to put that out there right now. People can Google it if they want. Mm-hmm. But you sounds like you have like the first computer made. Is that just the fan going?
Hey, you know what? It's hot in my office. Sometimes I like to turn on the fan. No, but I do have like a 1996 Microsoft. So like, you're lucky I even have video.
Did you pay for it?
I didn't, and so that's one of the benefits for when you go to some of these deals and they come up and they give you something and you're like, yeah, I'll use it. Yeah. And I found it.
They give you a crappy computer and you're going to use it.
It actually works perfectly fine, other than that really loud engine that you guys are hearing in the background.
Does it have solitaire? Does it have solitaire on it? That's all he has on it. Just internet and solitaire.
Solitaire and Wikipedia. That's it.
I mean,
like, what was it? The Encarta? Well, the old school little app or whatever that they used to have when we were growing up. That's about it.
I think he's a little bit young. He's a little bit younger than me. I don't even know what Encarta is.
Well, I'm younger than all of you, I think. But I don't know what it is.
Hey, before we get to the football career and all that stuff, which is pretty cool, fun fact about you that I don't know if everybody knows it, but if you want to watch a great sporting event in the summer, you watch the Little League World Series. And you had the opportunity. You had the opportunity as a youngster, 12 years old, to play in that game. You represented the American national team.
Yeah, the team that won the U.S.
The U.S. team that wins. They play the world team, and you play in the World Champions. Unfortunately, you didn't beat Venezuela.
Yep.
I can't talk.
Venezuela
that time.
He got Dan wanted to add an extra oomph to Venezuela.
I gotta slow down with this stuff. I just get rolling and slow down. But how was that experience just playing it? Because Tip played minor league baseball. I played baseball growing up and all that stuff. You always watch the game and see those kids go out there and compete. It looks pretty cool. How was it from your perspective playing?
It was incredible. Are you kidding me? You're 12 years old, right? And especially leading up to that tournament, you're with all your buddies going through, you're eating a ton of pizza, and don't kid yourself, I had my fair share. I was probably about 15 pounds overweight at that point, just because of all the pizza parties. But then you go to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and you get to stay in barracks. So you're away from your parents, everything. It's just a complete, can I cuss on this thing?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Let it rip.
It's a complete shit show, right? Yeah. You got pillow fights every night. It's pranks. You're, whatever you possibly can do. You're having fun. But then at the same time, all these people are there, like Mizuno, East, and all the glove companies. They're giving you free stuff like every day. So I had like 3 new gloves, new batting gloves, 3 new bats. It was absolutely incredible. And plus, like, you're there, and it's like the biggest stage for any 12-year-old sporting event that you could possibly be a part of. So when you have ESPN covering it was just an incredible platform, an incredible stage, and you don't really recognize it as a 12-year-old kid, right? You're sitting there enjoying playing baseball with your buddies, but at the end of the day, it was incredible. We won the USA, we lost to Venezuela, and the reason we lost to Venezuela because they don't check birth certificates in Venezuela, obviously. They had 15, 16-year-olds pitching off the bump, throwing 98 with mustaches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was a little bit of an imbalance there in terms of from a competitive standpoint. But then after that was incredible. We went on the Jay Leno show. We met 3 different presidents. They had a parade for us when we got home. It was like rock star status. And we're just like, this is amazing. We were in the Rose Parade. I mean, just crazy stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Was lifelong memories.
We're about to talk about a lot of teams that you're on, and it sounds like that might be the best team he's been on. Like, he's so excited.
When you're 12 years old and you see the ESPN cameras out there, do you get nervous?
No, you don't even think about it at 12, right? You just kind of know that they're filming and stuff, and then you do some interviews, and you're so raw. You're just like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, whatever the conversation is. But it's pretty straightforward. But it was wild. Like you kind of go into this like little bit of a celebrity status. Like I said, you go and do these things, but you don't really recognize and appreciate it until you get much older. Yep. And when you look back and go, man, that was incredible.
Do you still keep in touch with some of those guys?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, who was the best player?
Yeah, do you still keep in touch? Yeah. Who's the best player that you had on that team? Was it you?
I mean, I used to. I could swing it now, boys. I could swing a little bit. Let's be honest. But we had, let's see, Nathaniel Dunlap played in the major leagues. My best friend is still my best friend to this day. Matt Fisher was our shortstop. He played in the minor leagues. Matt Cunningham played in the minor leagues for a little while.
I played with Matt Cunningham. I played with Matt Cunningham. He was with the Astros. Yep.
We had quite a few guys that actually went on and played in minor league baseball. Nobody really ever established themselves in the pros, but I mean, it was a fun team, and we were 17-0 until we got to the World Series. And I think we were having so much fun. We lost in the first round, but then came back, won the USA, the bracket from the losers bracket, came back, won, and then played Venezuela in the championship. But it was amazing. That same team went to the 13-year-old Little League World Series the 13-year-old World Series the following year in Michigan. But they get no coverage in 13. No free stuff there.
Nothing there. We might have to cut this or not because I can't remember if this story is accurate, Max. Matt Cunningham, his father, because we got drafted the same year, I'm pretty sure was the guy beside Phil in Cheers. He was an extra. Am I right?
100%. You're 100% right.
And he was like the guy that was he was in like 500 episodes, right? And I think he had 7 or 8 lines.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a residual checks like left and right.
Give me the residual checks.
Exactly.
It was crazy. He's on Cheers. Somebody sent me a clip of him in one of the episodes the other day, and it was classic. I was sitting there because he used to coach us growing up too.
Right.
Coach Cunningham. So it was unbelievable. Yeah, but he was part of Cheers.
Okay.
And he was an actor.
So the memory. You jogged the memory right there, Cassel. Jeez.
So did you play football then growing up with all these kids that were, tremendous athletes as well? Or were you from different parts? And this was just like one of those, the all-star teams put together from all over in California.
No, we were Northridge Little League, man, and so we all grew up in Northridge, and it actually just ended up we knew that we had a talented team, but didn't know where it was going to go. And then you go through district, and then I think it's however many different tournaments that you go. We were 17-0, like I said, getting there, so you go through quite. The other thing was Western Regionals was amazing in California, and you go out there and play all the best teams from Hawaii and all the West Coast and do all that. So it was just a collective group of guys that came together that we just had a really talented group, and that's what happened. It was crazy. But in terms of football, a lot of those guys didn't play football with me. I started playing football, Pop Warner, probably when I was 9. Mm-hmm. For, the Northridge Knights, baby. We looked like the Steelers. We had pretty sweet colors. I mean, we were pretty decent there. I played linebacker and quarterback. Go figure.
Did you start on that team? You're the starting quarterback on that team?
I started a ton of games, guys, in the NFL. Remember, I started for Kansas City. Remember,
that's right. I remember.
Did you took over Tom Brady's job? Okay, they didn't want Tom Brady to play that season in 08. The reigning MVP. They're like, Cassel, you're ready. Step in. So I did.
That's right. They asked you to.
But did you start at USC? Did you start at USC?
Who needs to start in college? That's for like guys that need the reps. I didn't need the reps.
No, you were preserving yourself. You didn't want to get hit.
You were just sandwiched in between 2 Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't want to win the Heisman? Trophy. I mean, if you would have worked a little bit harder in college, maybe you would have, you could have held the trophy a little bit.
True. I mean, I just wanted to dabble in a little tight end.
Just take one snap.
Special teams in college. I mean, probably the biggest play I can remember in college was me on the hands team of getting the hands team recovery against UCLA. That was basically my claim to fame.
That's an in-town rival. That's a big play right there.
It is.
Big deal.
So when the Pats draft you just like, what the hell just happened?
That's exactly what happened. So it's so funny because going into that whole process, right? I went up to my coach and I said, "Hey, I was thinking about just going out and trying out for pro day. He's like, Cassel, I think you might want to look for another occupation. And I was like, Carl Smith, we called him Tater. I was like, thanks, coach. Yeah, that was uplifting. I was like, screw this. I'm still going to go out to pro day. So I show up, and these guys look at the list. They're like, you're not on the list. I'm like, I'm a senior. I've been on the team. Can you just let me please participate? So I go out, and I threw the heck out of the ball that day. Little did I know, like, scouts came in after I threw, and they're like, what's your story? What's going on?
Yeah,
like,
what'd you do wrong?
Carson Palmer was the first pick overall, and then the other guy just won the Heisman. So, I mean, I got sandwiched a little bit in between some guys. And at that point, I had some private workouts with all different teams, like probably 4 or 5 different teams. And then, but the Patriots weren't on the radar whatsoever. So that morning of the second day or the final day of the draft, I get a phone call from Pioli saying, hey, we're thinking about taking you if we take a quarterback. Otherwise, we'd like to have you come in as a free agent, which that's what I anticipated, hopefully just getting a shot.
Yep.
And then 7th round, the agent that I had, Dave Dunn, the only reason I had an agent was because I had to call Carson and say, Carson, I don't know what to do in terms of representation. You were the first round pick. Who's your agent? Can you represent? He's like, done deal.
Yeah.
Good friend.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good friend.
I go down. I'm sitting there with Lauren, now my wife, at the time my girlfriend, and I get a phone call. They said, come in here. There was a few phone calls coming in talking about bringing me in to be a free agent. And then the next thing I know, they're like, hey, Coach Belichick's on the line. And I was like, what? And so I pick up the phone, and he's like, hi, Matt, this is Coach Belichick. I want to let you know that we're going to take you next in the NFL draft. I was like, Coach, are you messing with me? Is this really Coach Belichick? And he goes, yes, this is Coach Belichick. Congratulations. Welcome to the Patriots. And I ran in the other room, and I'm on the phone. And he's like, please hold for Bears. Yeah. And I'm looking at Laura. I'm going, watch the television. Watch the television. She's like flipping through it. Yeah, nothing's come up. No, nothing's come up. And I'm like, watch it. And it goes, ding, ding, ding. Matt Cassel, USC, drafted. And even the announcers on the thing, they're like, I have no idea who this guy is.
He was a hands team. He's a hands team specialist. That's how they drafted him.
He's got no quarterback stats at college, but yet he's listed as a quarterback, which is amazing.
He also said, which is funny, the USC Pro Day, they had to check him in. They're like, who you needed your ID to show up at the USC Pro Day. You played for the team.
So I played for the team. Yeah. You're not on the list. Okay. No. But I was on the team.
Yeah, you were on the team. There's no doubt about that. And after a certain point, you get up to the 6th and 7th round of the NFL draft, a lot of those guys at that point would rather go free agency because then they get to pick their situation that they want to go to.
That makes sense, yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you get drafted, yes, it's a tremendous honor to get drafted, and there's not that many, 200 or 250 maybe every year. Yeah. So you're happy to get drafted, but were you happy coming to New England? Obviously, Tommy's not going anywhere at that point.
Yeah, honestly, I was just happy to get a shot, and I didn't understand what the dynamics were. I remember the first day coming into those meetings, they put up the depth chart, and I'm sitting there, and at the time there's Tom Brady, Rohan.
What was the first meeting with Tom? How'd that go?
Oh, you know what? It's interesting because I was such a little, I was starstruck, right? And I come up and I call him Mr. Brady. He's like, don't call me Mr. Brady, call me Tommy or TV. I was like, okay, yes, sir, TV. And then, and so I just shut up and listened, right? Because I didn't know. I was overwhelmed by the whole process. Anyway, you're moving from California, your first time away from home. You're in Boston from the reigning Super Bowl champions. I'm trying to just get everything, just suck it all in, take it all in. And at the same time, you also have to absorb the playbook and all that. But at the time, we had 5 quarterbacks there, right? We had Brady, Rohan Davey, Doug Flutie, Chris Redmond, and then myself was dead last in the depth chart. So I was like, okay, why did they draft me? I have no idea right now where I'm going with this, but maybe I make a practice squad. I was just excited to be there. So, it worked out well, obviously, in the end. But, it was crazy just that whole time period of getting there and then trying to absorb that playbook, to say the least.
It really was a credit to him because he came in and from what I remember, which I don't remember very well, a lot, it's a long time ago, but there was a transition from 03, 04, and was it your rookie year that they only kept 2, or was it the year after that, or do we have Redmond on there too?
Year after, yeah. That first year it was myself, Doug Flutie, who was 41, who was, what was he driving with the Eagle on?
Oh, God, man. Yeah, it was.
Dude, he was beautiful.
He did the drop kick.
He did the drop kick in the game.
In the game, yeah.
You know what?
That was probably then.
The best part about that story is that was my rookie year, and it was the end of the year. The starters, we had clinched playoff position, and I got to play 3 quarters. Well, on that particular play before that was my first touchdown pass to Timmy Dwight, and then they bring in Flutie, and everybody in the stadium goes absolutely apeshit. Like, they're going crazy, right? They cannot wait to see this kid. Like, they think Doug Flutie's coming to play quarterback, and he drop kicks it through. You would have thought we won the Super Bowl. He did the fist bump, whole thing. And then I run back out on the field the next series to go run 2 minute and go back in, and the crowd's pissed. They're like, Flutie. I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's a scene from Rudy.
There's a hometown favorite there. There's one Heisman Trophy up the road, and that's his. So you sort of got to know your place on that one there, Cassel.
Well,
I started yelling it too.
Before we come off the college thing, though, we just were talking before this, like the 8th string quarterback at USC, maybe? It sounds like, it was all Heisman Trophy winners, was my third baseman in the minor leagues, Billy Hart, who we used to catch pass patterns from him, to work out. We used to run him and he used to throw the ball. I'm like, this guy right now could go play quarterback, I think, anywhere in the NCAA.
No.
And he wasn't even, did he take it? He didn't take a snap, probably, right? And I love you, Billy. We called him Billy Fart, by the way. Billy Fart. He was an all-time guy.
It's a quality nickname.
Yeah. Billy, that was the thing about the University of Southern California when Pete Carroll was there and the talent level that we had. I mean, when I was there, Carson won the Heisman Trophy, Leinart won the Heisman Trophy, Reggie Bush won the Heisman Trophy. I mean, the team was stacked. We had myself, Brandon Hance, who was another guy who was a first-year starter, a freshman starter at Purdue. He took over for Drew Brees, who was actually really talented, hurt his shoulder, but transferred in. Then Billy Hart, then J.D. Booty right after that. So we had 5 guys on staff that could probably play anywhere in the country. And again, I had a tough decision to be made because when they actually went with Leinart, we competed that whole year. They called me in the week before the first game in Auburn and said, we're going to start Matt Leinart, but if he falters at all, you're going in. Well, the rest is history, right? He didn't falter. But, there was no transfer portal. So what do? Go to Division II? And so it kind of worked out for me because I was sandwiched in between those two guys. I still got a shot. But, the chances of that happening are so rare. So I was just in a good position at the right time.
Yeah, it was quarterback you.
No doubt. And there's no professional team in that area at that time.
Yeah,
so USC was, the ticket in that town.
Yep.
Which was, even if you're sitting on the sideline, still probably cool to go to the games and watch all that shit happen.
Definitely.
The games were cool, but the nightlife was so much better. We could get in anywhere.
Yeah,
it was
awesome. A 17-and-a-half-year-old red shirt freshman.
You talk about shots. 2008, Tommy goes down in the first game. Did you almost shit your pants on the sideline when that happened?
I shit my pants.
I thought I was going to pass out, to be honest with you. The blood that was rushing in my head, I could hear the heartbeat in my ear because, of course, I'm watching the play down the field, and I think Moss had a reception and then fumbled the ball that particular play. So then all of a sudden I'm watching that play, but the whole crowd, I don't know if you remember this at all, but they went dead silent.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the one time, we know playing with him, Tom Brady is one of the toughest sons of bitches that you'll ever be around.
And he won't talk about it, ever.
He won't talk about it, never complains. He just gets after it. And so the fact that he wasn't getting up was the first time in 4 years that I had been there that he hadn't actually somehow brushed it off and got up. And then he's hobbling off the field, and the doc comes up to me and says, it's an ACL. He's done for the year. Cassel, it's your team. And I said, is that your position to say that right now? All right. I'm already a little bit worried about the circumstances. I didn't have the best preseason, Doc.
Yeah. Hey, that's true. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a highlight reel to say the least.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, though, Belichick goes, Cass, get your helmet. You're going in, and you know how Bill is. He's very straightforward. He's very stoic. There's no hey, you're going to do great. He's just like, Cass, get your helmet. You're going in. And then I remember the punt was down to our 1 yard line. Remember that? Mm-hmm. We ran two plays, 34 double or something like that, try to get it, nothing. And then we threw a pop pass, and Randy is running down and runs right back past Patrick Surtain, who tries to jump the route. And I throw it to him for a 56-yard thing. And I was like, oh, my God. This is amazing.
We're like, I got to have one good game here, and then I'm solidified for the next 12 years of my career. I'm good. We got to get one good one under our belt.
Well, I knew that we were going to have to get a few. We went through our ebbs and flows early in that season. I mean, Miami came in with the Wildcat and just drummed us game 3. My first start was actually the second week of the season against the Jets and Brett Favre, which was a good win for us. But, I mean, it's not like we lit it up. Then we got drummed. We went out to San Francisco, beat them, but then we came back, stayed West Coast trip.
No, there was 4 West Coast trips, 4 West Coast games. We did 2 trips a week or like 2 weeks out there during the season. Which was,
and so then the second part of that first trip was San Diego. San Diego drummed us, and so there was like, everybody's like, who's this guy? Who are they going to bring in? This, that, and the other. But to Bill's credit and to the coaching staff, they stuck with me, and we got in a rhythm. And I was confident in the system, but we just, it took time to kind of get to the point where they were confident in me enough to go, okay, we're going to do what we did before. The checks, the run with me, the check with knees, the different motions formationally. We expanded so much over that season, and we were on a roll at the end of the year. Yeah,
we won 4 straight at the end of the year. We ended up 11-5.
First 11-5. 11-5
did not make the playoffs, which was a shame because we were playing good. And Cassel's right. There's a learning curve, especially he hadn't played in a game in a long time from college, to professional.
The preseason
didn't go so well.
The Steelers looking the Pop Warner.
The preseason didn't go so. I remember one time we ran a 3-step drop, Cassel, and I swear to God, I turned around and it was just like pushed him back because he didn't even take any steps back. And he just turned around and just like,
shuffle.
Where the hell are you right now? Get away. Just get back in the pocket a little bit.
Now he says that, but I took a steady 3-step drop, a healthy 3-step drop, but Copen sometimes would get pushed back with his little waist.
Yeah, there you go. I knew you were coming back with that. Hey,
any bad snaps? Any bad snaps from him?
No, there was one.
Yes, I was just about to say this.
There was one.
We won the Jets game that we went to OT in, but midway through the game, third quarter actually, Copen decided to snap the ball 30 yards over my head in a mad scramble back and he goes,
fired up.
It came a little early. That was I had one fumbled snap under center my rookie year, and I had one up until that point, one bad shotgun snap, and that was you. And I know exactly why.
What did I do?
No, you didn't do anything. You were perfectly fine. It was not your fault. In the first half of that game, we were going against Chris Jenkins, and Heath Evans ran up on him was Heath there? Or one of the running backs ran up.
Heath was there.
Heath ran up on me, and my left elbow got hyperextended. So they went and they wrapped it up a little bit, put some braces on it, took a few pills, tried to get to the second half. I was not all there in the second half.
The more you know with the star, the more you know.
Because this is the funny part is right after Copen comes up to me and goes, "What happened?" I said, "What happened? You just snapped the ball 30 yards over my head. What happened to you?" Oh God, you know what?
Shit,
and
my fault
too. I mean, especially guys like Copen. I mean, he's automatic, right? So that never happens. But when it does happen, I mean, you talk about mental anguish that they go through and how they just are like, "Oh my God," like this, that, and the other. It's so funny. It's it's like a golfer that's got the yips. But at least you kept it together, dude.
No, we got through the game. We got the win.
Yeah,
I do remember that snap, no doubt. That was way.
It's in his head right now. I can hear it.
Way early, but all right.
He's thinking about it.
You get through that season. Now you're on to Kansas City. Huge contract.
Ooh,
huge
spicy.
contract.
Few in a row. Yeah.
Huge contract. You're the starting guy out there. Not so good the first year. Second year, take them to the playoffs. You're in the Pro Bowl. You love your coach, right?
No.
Todd Haley,
27 touchdowns, 7 picks. I think I looked that up.
We did. We were rolling a little bit, And the thing is, like, it's amazing because you come from a culture of New England, right, which is so regimented, and they're so meticulous to detail, and you feel so prepared when you go into games, and you don't understand that not everybody operates the same way. They don't always go about their week in the same manner. They're not as detailed about like what they want to do against particular coverages or adjustments and this, that, and the other. So once you leave New England, there's a huge adjustment that takes place. And as from a quarterback position, sometimes you fight the system because you're sitting there going, wait, I've always been taught that we don't run into that, or that we don't throw this particular route against this coverage. We check out of it and we get to something better, right? And so that was a tough adjustment. And plus the team, we had some rebuilding to do. Obviously, that team was, I think, 2-14 or 4-12 the year before. And so that first year was a struggle for sure, just in so many different ways. And not only that, but we went through that first offseason when I got to Kansas City with Chan Gailey as our coordinator. And then literally after the last preseason game, he gets fired. And Todd Haley takes over play calling responsibility. We didn't even have a quarterback coach.
Right.
So we go in, the season was what it was, but we got on a little bit of a roll near the end of the season. Next year, Charlie Weiss comes in. Yeah. I'm familiar with that system, right? That's something I grew up in with New England. So we go and we start building something. Well, Todd Haley, Charlie Weiss can't really coexist. The personalities, for whatever reason, just didn't mesh well,
Shocking.
to say the least. Shocking, right?
Shocking,
two
Charlie. I've never met Todd, but I know Charlie, and from what you've told me about Todd, I don't see them getting along very well. I've heard it. I don't think I've heard it from you directly.
Yeah.
The final thing that broke the straw. Broke the camel's back. Broke the camel's back.
Broke the straw. When Todd was finally let go?
When you wouldn't come off the field.
Dan was mentioning
that was a situation.
That's just a ballsy, impressive move.
Yeah,
can you elaborate on that
situation? Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit. So it was the second to last game. We're going up against Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans, and they kept early on in the game. Look, we knew that they were going to try to bring pressure. They were a max pressure team, right? Safeties involved, and we had some run plays called. And we were talking about it earlier in the week with Charlie Weiss. I was like, look, I got to check out of this. So I just max protected, throw quick outs, and we keep moving the sticks, right? Todd wanted to run the ball, and so every time I'd come off the field, he was screaming at me. And I was like, well, we had discussed this. So this was going on for most of the first half. So then third quarter comes around, he calls a boot, and I pull up, right? I don't break contain, I pull up, and I can already, he's mad at me, right? He's screaming at me. And so we ended up having to punt, and I'm coming off the sideline, and he's in my ear. And at one point as a player, you're competing and all this stuff, and then finally it met a head, and I said something like, you better play the position. Now, look, it's wrong, it's disrespectful, but sometimes those situations happen. Yeah. I go sit down, he comes back over, there's more banter going on, right? And he's still yelling, and then I said something immature and stupid, which I never should have said, but something like, this is what we need right now is you yelling at me, and then he said, screw you, you're benched, Brody, you're in. And I was like, I didn't think he was being serious, right? Yeah. And I understand that he's pissed off at me because I'm yelling back at the head coach as a player, and I get that. But then he says that, and then I'm getting ready to go back out on the field, and all the coaches are coming up. Matt, he says you're out. I was like, what are you talking about? We're at the end of the third quarter trying to win the AFC West, right? And so I run back out on the field. I wasn't supposed to, and they won't give me a play in my helmet, so I call a play, and then they send Brody out on the field, and everybody's kind of confused because we had a pretty decent lead at that point, but at the same time, not enough to go into the fourth quarter completely comfortably and finish the game, right?
Right.
So, and I told Brody before I went in, I was like, bud, I am so sorry right now. I know this is going to upset you, but I'm going out. So then they send him out on the field, quarter switches. First play of the fourth quarter, the ball gets tipped up. Like I said, I feel guilty as charged, right, for putting him in that position. Interception. Now everybody's pissed, right? Everybody's mad. Linemen are mad. They're like, what are we doing? And so I was like, are we done messing around like this, that, and the other? And they're like, Cassel, I don't know what to tell you. He says you're still out. And I was like, so I wait there. I'm the team captain, and I felt like it was something that was important to our team and the franchise at that point to go out on the field and finish the game. So I ran back out on the field. Well, the first few plays, they still wouldn't give me a play in my helmet. He wasn't letting.
Oh, they're leaving you out to dry.
I'm calling my own plays to start the drive. Finally, they were like, all right, well, we can't take him back out at this point. So they started giving me some plays. We went down, kicked the field goal, and we won the AFC Championship, AFC West that year. And but it was just a crazy circumstance. That really, that created a little bit of division, to say the least, between us.
Yeah. The fact that he's just so immature, and obviously you were too in certain situations, but
right.
But you're out on the field. You got to get you a play at some point.
Yeah, it's like I said, I understand I was at fault, and I was the first one trying the next day to go in and say, look, I'm sorry, I apologize, and you know how it goes. There's heavy emotions in all these games, right? Especially on Sundays when you're getting through, and sometimes there's arguments that take place, but I never had it escalate to that point to where they're like, hey, you're out. You're our starting quarterback, you're our team captain, but you're out. Yeah. You're out of the game. In a pivotal game, a must-win game in order to keep us from either winning or losing the AFC West. I mean, that was crazy about it. That was the unfortunate circumstance.
I would have called the craziest plays ever if I was him. I would have been like, Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Like, we're just throwing this ball up in the air. It's jump ball time.
Absolutely.
Bombs away, boys.
Exactly.
Todd's not talking anymore. We're going, boys. Here
we're
we
going
go.
deep.
What about so Kansas City now? Tommy's back in the Super Bowl. I mean, how is that possible?
It's incredible. It really is. I mean, if you think about it, 10 Super Bowl appearances now. Right. He's already got 6 Super Bowl championships at the age of 43 with a truncated offseason, with a new head coach, a new offensive system, all new players. And look, I had to experience before. No matter what player you are, when you go to a new city with everybody, not only do you have to take your family and kind of establish new roots and all that stuff, and especially in the comfort that you've been for the last 20 years, but the grind of an offseason, especially when you don't have OTAs and all that, of learning a new playbook, getting familiar with your play caller, all that, and then also building the trust and respect from all those guys. Obviously, he walks in with a resume that speaks for itself, so that he automatically has respect, but you still have to build those relationships in the locker room. And so what he's accomplished this year has just been incredible. And you think about it, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the year, over 4,600 yards passing this year. It's one of his best statistical years in all of his career. And, you put that many talented guys around Tom Brady, who is the best to ever play the position, he's gonna figure it out and have success, right? But the way that he's done it, and then also at the end of the season, the way they finished with 4 straight victories, to go on the road, three different road victories, go up to Green Bay, win last week. It's absolutely phenomenal, and he's up there with the greats, the Michael Jordans of the world.
Yeah, not just football.
James, it's my earpiece fell.
Oh, fumble! Did Dan snap you that earpiece? Flew over your head.
When you skimp and you get the knockoff Apple
those aren't the AirPod Pros.
They're slippery.
No, absolutely not. They're way worse.
Maybe it's the generic pods that are making that fan sound.
Yeah, there's a fan inside of them.
That's probably it. It's good for my head right now. Yeah,
so you taking Tampa Bay then? Is it Tampa Bay for you in this game? What's your pick here?
You know what? That's a tough one for me. People have been asking me because Kansas City. Let's be honest, they proved it last year. The kid Patrick Mahomes is like the best quarterback in the game right now. Right. And I'm not saying it
no.
Just
hey, people. I hate when you say, "Oh, Mahomes is better than Brady," or "Rodgers is better than Brady." That's just right now.
It's this moment.
This moment.
We're talking about it.
They're
2 decades.
They're faster. Yeah. They may have a stronger arm or whatever. But as far as the whole career, there's no question. There's no doubt. But
no, there's no doubt. But Tom Brady is the GOAT, right? Yep. But then you're talking about a young kid who's 25 years of age. He takes over for Alex Smith, lights the league on fire, wins the MVP in his first full season as starter, wins the Super Bowl the next year, Super Bowl MVP. They're back in the Super Bowl this year. Again, he's so talented. He does things that only maybe Aaron Rodgers can do in terms of just from a physical standpoint, but his mobility and his, a lot of times you watch him in his play and you think, is he reckless? But it's not. Those off-schedule plays and secondary plays of getting out of the pocket, the ability to throw the ball downfield, the accuracy, and he makes plays that nobody else in the league can do at that position. He's special. And then you had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman, Sammy Watkins. Again, probably the top 2 talented offensive groups in terms of their weapons are going up against each other, and they just score at will. And we saw it last year. They got behind 21, 24 points to Houston in the first playoff game, and they can score at will. So they're never out of a game. And so the one thing I'll say, if Tampa Bay's defense shows up, I think they absolutely have an opportunity to win. But it's hard to pick against Kansas City until they prove that
Talk about the defense. What about the 2 tackles that Kansas City are going to be missing for this game?
I mean, Schwartz is out, obviously, and then their other Fisher just tore his Achilles. So, I mean, with Shaq Barrett, and then you've got on the other Jason Pierre-Paul, who's damn good as well. Sue Vita Vea's back, and then you got Delvin White as well. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to be blitzing Mahomes in this game versus needing to play coverage, but at the same time, I mean, if they get after him in the front, that's going to be the determining factor for this defense. Obviously, they're not going to play a ton of man against the team like this. You just can't, right, because of the team speed that they have for Kansas City. But if they get out there and they can pressure the quarterback and pressure Mahomes, that'll be the difference in the game.
We're ready to watch it. He's still not making quite a pick, but maybe he can't.
He might have obligations.
Yeah, that's right. He might not be able.
He's an analyst now for NBC Sports Boston. What about, or you say, Mahomes and the athletic ability and all that stuff? Do you, I mean, Tommy doesn't have that, but have you seen a better decision maker than Tommy? Does Mahomes have that quality? Is that something that's innate, or is that coached as well too?
It's coached as well. I mean, the system itself is beautiful, how he takes advantage of his strengths and plays to his strengths. And you see it. Like, it's incredible. Not only do they have the different pass patterns and the isolation of Kelsey on the backside of formations, but the RPO game that they have, the run pass option stuff, I mean, that's really what they rely on in terms of their run game. And it's an easy read for Mahomes, but he's literally faking. They've got a tight end slicing back across the formation to give him a little bit of presence there on the defensive end. But then they run the route combinations off that, and he's reading one defender. As soon as they overcommit, I mean, it's an explosive play, and you saw that through, like, last week against the Bills. You see it throughout the course of the season. Like, that RPO system that they have in place, not only that, but they've got the jet sweeps, the reverses that they do, and his ability to take shots down the field. I mean, it's incredible, but his decision making is outstanding, and he doesn't make a lot of bad mistakes. He doesn't have a lot of forced errors. There's not a ton of turnovers. He doesn't fumble the ball in the pocket, and then he uses his legs in the right way, right? There's times where he picks and chooses. He stays a passer when he gets outside the pocket, but when he does take off, he's very, very effective with running the ball too. I mean, it's a great offensive scheme, but he's the guy that runs that whole system.
He's a guy. He's worth $500 million. Gosh,
that's so much money.
That's a ton. That's a lot.
Gosh, it's so much money.
So much. Where are you on Brady and Belichick? Everybody's getting, Bill's sort of getting plastered right now with some shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. Anybody after 20 years of Bill being at the top of his game, and then everybody saying, well, you lost Tom Brady, and Bill, it was Tom Brady, it's not Bill. I mean, it's their opportunity to stick it to Bill, because a down year, anytime you have that type of transition where you have the all-time greatest quarterback that's been part of your system, and you're making a transition from that to a new quarterback, particularly Cam Newton, which didn't really fit the style of that offensive unit.
Well, he didn't fit arm strength either.
Mm-hmm. No, there was accuracy issues. There was all the things that took place this year. And it also went back to, look, they also have a case to be made in terms of drafting people, right? N'Keal Harry, and that hasn't worked out yet. No. They drafted 2 tight ends this year that hadn't really had any production in terms of this year. I mean, their stable of running backs were great. Their offensive line was outsane, but from just the weapon standpoint, and that's primarily, I think, why Brady absolutely chose to move on, was he knew that he was going to be in the same boat as what they were last year in 2019 of winning games mainly through defense, but offensively there wasn't enough. And as you well know, Coach, this is a matchup-driven league, man.
Yep.
If you don't have guys to go out there and win one-on-one battles and do that, then you're going to look like a mediocre quarterback, because within that system, within the type of ball that Tom Brady plays, you know what? You're going to have to get open, and you're going to have to do that. And he can put you in a good position. He can throw the ball accurately, but if you're not creating separation and not being able to get open against certain guys, nobody's going to be successful.
I saw Amendola came out with an interview maybe this morning or something, said flat out, Tom Brady is the Patriot way.
Yep.
And just discarding Bill and what he did for 20 years, and I just have a hard time. I have a hard time discrediting Bill as a coach, and you said it right there. It's about matchups. Yeah, players go out there and execute the play, and they make the tackles, they make the throws. But the coaches are the ones that help them to put those in those positions to get the best matchup. So, as a coach and a player, it's 50-50.
There was a commercial spot that was, there's 2 Goliaths. It wasn't like, one was, it was two Goliaths. You had Brady and Belichick. I think Barstool had a sweatshirt like that. I wanted to get it. I missed it. But that's why it was 20 years of power. You had two people that were doing it. So
and like I said, look, I played for a lot of different organizations, a lot of different offenses. And the fact of the matter is, Bill Belichick and what he does and how he has you prepared week in and week out, the mindset that you have to have. Look, you have to be a mentally tough player. There's no doubt about it. It's not always the most enjoyable work environment to go to, but he holds everybody accountable. And there's not one person that's off limits. And when you talk about Bill, like I just remember on Tuesdays, which are normally your day off, we used to get to go into Bill's office, and it was my favorite time during the week. And we'd sit there and you'd break down the opponent. You'd break down each defensive back that they had, their strengths, their weaknesses, overall view of how we can attack this guy, their safeties. If there was a good linebacker matchup, because we had Kevin Falk at the time, who was an outstanding third down back. If he wanted to talk about a particular matchup with a certain linebacker, he's like, look, we can take advantage of this guy. If you get Kevin Falk in space, it's a great option for you. So by the time you walked in on Wednesday and you started implementing the game plan, you'd sit there with so much confidence because you know why you're attacking certain people, what routes you want to throw against certain individuals and the matchup that you're looking for. And there's no other place I've been that did it quite like what Bill was able to create there in the environment for success for particular players and to play to people's strengths. And you can look throughout those 20 years, you can take players like Wes Welker, who was cut by San Diego, who had probably 40 career catches to his name before he got there, and then he went 5 years straight with over 100 receiving receptions per year, over 1,000 yards, bunch of touchdowns. I mean, but before that, Wes Welker wasn't a household name. Yep. It was because he came back. Randy Moss was they thought he was dead in the water. Like he didn't have anything left. He comes in, sets the new NFL record for TD receptions that next year. Look, they put people in a position to be successful. And it's that entire coaching staff takes on that mentality of what Bill creates for that program.
Yep. You were the last thing that I have before we ask our last question normally is, Dan mentioned, the pranks that you guys were playing. We had Matt Light on a few weeks ago. I guess he was a prankster, but you got blamed. You might not have done them, but you got blamed for a lot of them. It felt like you were a scapegoat. You lost your tires one time or your wheels one time, Dan mentioned. So were you pranking the guys or were you just getting blamed for it? Is that the backup thing or what was the deal?
No, well, really what happened was to start the whole situation. Well, I used to always swing the door open in the quarterback room, and Brady would always kind of be right there by the door, and he'd always be like, "You're gonna give me a concussion. Don't swing the door open." Right? And I was, we were boys at that point, so I would give it back to him a little bit, right? I was like, okay.
It took a few years. Huh? It took a few years though to get to that point.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for pointing that out, Copen. Okay, good point. Anyway, so with that, I didn't walk in the building and get to know the guy, right? He had to establish a relationship. But nonetheless, we had an established relationship, but he put his foot up against the door. I had this huge plate of food. He knew I was coming in, and the whole thing exploded on me. I was like, all right, good deal. So I went, and they had the old school Gatorade, those thick Gatorade, 50 carbs in one thing, and I poured them in those, those old school Air Force Ones, the white ones. I poured it in there. I put the flaming hot muscle rub in his underwear. I did something else, right? So as now I'm walking out, I've already showered and all that. I'm walking out to my car. He comes out with this huge shake, throws it on me, and then I dump a trash can on his car. So now the next day I come in and I'm sitting there. I'm like, why is my practice jersey already on my pads? And I'm sitting there and I was like, I smelled it and I was like, oh no, he didn't. He had I think he probably pissed on my pad or something like that, or my shirt. And so now I was like, all right, dude, it's over. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do, right? So then we're walking out to practice, and he's like, you better apologize to me or you're going to be sorry. I was like, dude, I'm not apologizing to you. I am going to just, crap in your helmet or something. And he's like, oh, you got to call me Daddy. I think it was Captain Longshanks who wanted me to call him and apologize. I was like, all right. And then he said, you have to lay in the stretch. And I didn't. So we go to practice. I don't apologize. I don't think anything of it. But as we walk in the locker room, 3 tires from my car are sitting in front of my locker. The other one's hidden somewhere in the facility.
Just 3.
I walk outside. The car's on blocks, and I'm going, oh my God. I had to get a ride home for the whole week. So until I call him, of course I go, okay, Captain Lawrence, I'm sorry, right? And so then of course that started this like supposed prank where we'll light Cope and all the guys get the idea. Let's fill Brady's car up with foam peanuts. Right. And so
seemed like a good
we
idea.
go up and we used to do walkthrough on what was it, the second floor?
In the club
suite when it was cold.
Yeah.
Club level.
Yep.
So you could look right out on the parking lot. And so all of them were already giggling. All the linemen are sitting over there. They're laughing. They're pointing out, Cassel, you got him good. I'm sitting there going, what the hell are they talking about? And we walk over and there's Brady and myself. And I go, I didn't do that. I swear. I did not blow up my car. I didn't do that. Like,
blow up my car.
Yeah. This, that, and the other. And then right after that, Belichick pulls up the whole team and says, all right, guys, it's about enough. This isn't World War effing 3. Well, all right, somebody's going to get hurt. Knock it off. And so I was like, thank God. That's why you're the greatest coach of all time. You're protecting your players.
Got your guys back. You got it. You mentioned one thing, the Gatorade thing. We ask everybody this question. We ask, everybody so far that's been on, what's your favorite Gatorade color that you drink? Is there a color that you like?
I'm just old school. I'm old school traditional orange. No zero.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. We didn't expect it.
We don't include G2.
We don't include any of that.
Zero. Just old school orange. I'm good with that.
Orange is starting to take the lead, Max, because Dan's a red guy. There's a lot of red people that are scary, and then there's a lot of yellows. I'm a yellow.
Yellow
so
tastes
you're
like
orange. That's fine.
Yellow tastes like piss. I'm just saying.
We'll let you get away with orange.
Red stains your lips for like 3 days.
You look like a 9-year-old that just came off the field after.
You like redheads, Cassel.
I love gingers, baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's
right. All right, buddy. So you didn't give us a pick. You like Tampa, but you also like Kansas City. Is that where you stand too?
You took the middle.
You know what? I'll take Tampa Bay. Let's go with our old boy.
There you go. Good.
Let's
there we go. I like
Morris can pull off 7. Let's go, baby.
If he does, I heard that the Derby trip that you guys go on is probably going to be pretty incrable if he has another Super Bowl.
That's what I'm hoping for.
If you go, I'll go. If you go, I'll go. Let's just hope we.
Are you kidding me?
If we still get an invite,
but the trip is just going to be. How many people are going to be on this trip?
Oh, it's going to be.
And we're going to feel like the old guys, like that are just there.
It's
versus all his new players. Like he'll have probably all those receivers and all those guys.
The new linemen, the new linemen. Then you feel weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, third wheel.
You know what?
Third wheel.
But it's still a free trip, and you get to go to the Derby. So I might say yes.
Yeah, might say yes.
So we got to celebrate it with them. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. I'll see you in Louisville. No problem.
We'll meet you there.
See you in Louis.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. See ya.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.